ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 42nd CALLERLAB Convention in Springfield. Today's the
30th
of March. And the name of this session is the Extended but Not Extreme Mainstream. My name is Al Stevens, and I'm waiting for Mike Sikorsky to come in. When Mike gets here, we'll arouse him with a round of applause, okay? The session, first of all, I have to apologize. I have just returned and relocated back to America from spending 36 years in Germany. So I'm not acclimated to what's happening here. The airlines found his luggage. Anyway, Mike Sikorsky is the panelist here with me on this session. Having not called here for quite a while has me at a disadvantage. I'm going to rely heavily on what Mike has to offer because I don't reward tardiness. I'm only kidding. There are many calls that we now have in the mainstream programs that have been labeled as standard applications, or the applications of which have been labeled standard. And we've even documented many of these in the standard applications handout or book that's available from CALLERLAB to purchase. However, in this context, standard does not mean easier. Standard means the most common. So if you see a standard application for a particular call, it's the most standard application of that call. It's not necessarily the easiest way. That being said, there are many infrequently used applications that aren't difficult. They're just different. They're infrequent. And through, we all know that through repetition, repetition enforces an instinctive reflex. If you repeat something over and over and over, it's going to become an instinctive reflex. And that's when square dancing becomes dancing instead of executing. In that same regard, if we practice mistakes, we'll end up with perfect mistakes if we keep making the same mistake over and over. Because they're infrequent, dancers bobble when they hear a particular application of a call or a routine. When they hear them, we try to avoid them because the dancers bobble. And what happens? They stay infrequent. Then we have a vicious circle that emerges, and sooner or later we drop the call at our triennial meetings. Turn through from just about anywhere can be an infrequently used. Try it from an ocean wave and see what happens. Total chaos. I've identified the fact that we have three like terms, not terms, routines. And all three of these routines essentially accomplish the same thing. There is a technical difference between the three calls that we have in the program that accomplish the same thing practically. One is turn through, another is arm turns, and the third is the Alamand family. The technical differences are, on a turn through, you have a distinct half turn from point of contact, a step through, and an adjustment to remain back to back with the person you turned. But the key is a half turn from point of contact. On an arm turn, we tell the dancers how far they have to go. Turn your partner by the right, a full turn, or 3/4 to a whatever. Alamands, we work from a position. If we're doing the Alamand left with our corner, we return to a particular person, don't we? Partner, that's identified. Doesn't take a master's degree to be able to determine if we can do an Alamand left. We can certainly do an Alamand right. So if you're facing your partner and you do an Alamand right, by association, we end up facing our corner. So we got three turning movements that are almost identical. However, they do have technical differences. And hopefully we're going to try to get into some of those differences here during this session. Without further ado, I'm going to tap dance.
Well, I have one equal that, I can tell you.
No, but I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mike, and he's going to take over and tap dance as well.
You want this? Because we are being recorded, so.
Well, we're just going to pass this, take one kind of pass it around the room if you would. I prefer, if you have any questions, thank you, yeah. I prefer, if you have a question, just raise your hand and we'll take it right then. And otherwise, we'll probably go through this in 6 minutes and it's back to him. Questions? Yeah. So my take on this whole thing is what can be done without increasing the difficulty level dramatically. So you're looking at the people you call for regularly, it's tip 3, tip 4 during the evening, something like that. And that's where you put sort of this sort of stuff in. Did you ID this for the tape? We're at CALLERLAB, Springfield, Missouri in 2015, all that, okay. All right, number 1, scoot back with the girls going first. I think that's really something we don't even think about doing, because standard choreo is 0 box, touch a quarter, and scoot back, and the boy always gets to go first. And then we fall into the trap of the boy will run, or the girl kid gets mixed up, whether it's a scoot back or it's a walk and dodge, because after the walk and dodge, the caller's always saying partner trade. After the scoot back, the caller's always saying boys run. So as long as she's facing in after either one, it doesn't matter what she did right before that. And we've all run into that. So we have this scoot back girls going first. So any 0 box you want to put them in. Do we want to demonstrate any of this, or do we just go through it first? Okay, so if we do-sa-do to a wave, because just step to a wave and girls trade is a little bit unflowing. So if we do-sa-do to a wave and then have the girls trade, have the girls run a Ferris wheel, and you might have to say keep her on your left, and the centers pass through. Now what you have to remember is, at that point, they're facing their corner in sequence. So you're a touch a quarter and roll, or face your partner from being back in a 0 box. But either way, you're facing your corner in sequence. So at that point you say touch a quarter and scoot back. Well, the girls get to arm turn first. Now at that point, after all of that, it's the same as if you had initially had just a 0 box, touch a quarter and scoot back. So that gets you to the same spot right there. 2 minutes. 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 2 minutes So what I've done here is I've listed 3 different ways that you can work to get out of that. If it went real well, you can say hinge, extend, right and left grand. Now if you happen to have started it with a head square through 4, working well when you're teaching scoot back, for instance, or you've taught it, now you're working it in a way the girls get to scoot first, so scoot back is still fairly new to the beginner. You can then say, after you've done the scoot back, you can hinge and you can step through and square your sets. That's not on the paper. I forgot to type that one in.
Oh,
So you can write that one in if you want as C.5 or something like that. So just using choreo you would normally use after a head square through 4 touch a quarter. After all of this, it's the same thing. You can say walk and dodge, partner trade. Now from there, what a lot of callers don't use is pass through, wheel and deal, and centers pass through. Now that whole thing from 0 box to 0 box is a true 0 because you're back to a 0 box, but it's different footprints. And it happens to be since the boy moved one quadrant clockwise, well they all did, 1 quadrant clockwise. Now you can say Alaman left, right, left grand, and you stirred the bucket at the end of the grand. They're quarter past. So I'm not a fan of using that to a right and left grand and then promenade 3/4 home. If you find that at the dances you call, the women seem to get tired out before the men do in most cases, you're promenading them too much. Any guy who's danced the woman's part knows the stride. You're covering a lot more miles doing the outside of the promenade. Any questions before I go on past that? They went that way. Did we run out?
We did.
That's all they printed me. Did you pay for the MP3? It'll be on there. It'll be on there, yeah. Okay, so the second one I have on the paper is 8 chain 3. Just by a show of hands, does anyone here use 8 chain 3 when it's not to an Alaman left? When it's actually in the middle of other choreo? That's about 10% of the room. On this one, I just said head square through 4 because the 0 box is the easiest way to do it. And if you're calling mainstream, you should be doing your 8 chain 3 where the boy is courtesy turning the girl. Once you get to plus, you can mix it around a little more. But for right now, we're going to keep it this way because we're talking about mainstream. So it's head square through 4 and then do an 8 chain 3. That's going to take a walkthrough because some of the people that are on the outside courtesy turn the girl. They don't know it's another hand. They don't know to stay there because they've never been asked to stay there. They've either done an 8 chain 4 or they've done an 8 chain 3 and the caller quickly says Alaman left before they have a chance to courtesy turn. So they've never actually had to stop. So in this particular sequence, it's head square through 4, 8 chain 3, centers pass through, put centers in and cast off 3/4. So that's different, but certainly doable, at least in my calling experience. From there, it's pass through, wheel and deal, which does put the girls in the center. Now that's a little bit different, but you can get people to do that. That's not going to be difficult. Now, now here's what's different about this. Girls square through 2 and cloverleaf. Even if the girl can't square through from the wrong side and she turns the wrong direction and you say cloverleaf behind a boy, this other girl's going to get to the boy first and this is the only guy left, so she's going to run over there and get there anyway. So this sequence works whether they do it your way or their way. I witnessed this. I'm a witness to this. Yes, I've been there. Yeah, bought the t-shirt. Okay. So, now from there, if you just have the boys you turn back, now you've done a couple of things. You've taken the square and you've turned it from people facing the side walls, east-west, to facing the head walls, north-south. So in the dancer's mind, it's different. It's also different that same sexes are paired as partners right then, but they're facing their corner in sequence. So everything from there, like the first get out, star through, and then in this case, bend the line. square through 3 and Allen man left, and they've stirred the bucket. If you prefer to do the circle left get out, you can say touch a quarter, girls run, bend the line, and circle left, you can say circle left 2 steps, and you're home, actually, is what you could say there. Pardon me. So if we did touch a quarter, now we have girls trade, swing through, boys run and bend the line and slide through. Now that's a 0 box, where again you could say Allen man left and bow to the partner, you stirred the bucket. Now if you do this, the D one here, if you do do-sa-do to a wave, you have same-sex partners, I am here to witness that you can tell people till they're blue in the face, till you're blue in the face, that when you step to a wave, you're touching right hands. But some guy, more than one, is going to think, I got to be the end of the wave, because he always is. So that's what he remembers. So this is going to, that can take some, that can take some work to make sure they do that right. Right, so if you say do-sa-do to a wave, now again, if you call scoot back, it's a girl's arm turn, but the waves are going to be a little bit far apart, so you want to make sure that you get them to do it. And then if you have the girls, you turn back and you square through 3 and Allen man left. Any question about any of this choreo? Because I've called, everything on this sheet I've called. Okay, so the last one is after that 8 chain 3, which was 8 chain 3, centers pass through, centers in, cast 3/4, pass through, wheel and deal, putting the girls in the center. Girls square through 2 and cloverleaf. Okay, so now, and the boys did the U-turn back. So if we touch a quarter, now if you scoot back from there, that's a nice boy-girl arm turn scoot back. But in waves, where they're closer together, has anybody here ever told a dancer, because you got so frustrated at them not being able to get the concept of back in the scoot back, that you told them, take 3 steps forward, turn somebody, and take 3 steps back? Has anybody ever said that? I know some people have. And I have literally seen dancers walk in 3 steps, nobody's there, they don't need them, they turn anyway, and they walk back. I've witnessed that. So if you want to do boy-girl scoot backs, this is a good way to do it, because the waves are closer together and they will do the scoot back for you.
If I were in Germany trying to call that, they would step forward, they would turn, and then you said step back?
No.
They would step back.
But if you told them to step back, no, what I meant was the concept of the back in scoot back. The whole concept of the name was to return back to the same person. That was the whole concept in the naming. Any question before I go on to the next one? Is this making any sense to anybody? No response. Would you like to tap dance? Never mind, I didn't ask that question. Okay, so rather than start with a normal 0 box, that's what the next part is all about. So we're going to start with the boy, boy, girl, girl line. So we're going to call heads, pass through, separate, round 1, make a line. Then we're going to say pass through, tag the line, and face right. A lot of callers, when they say pass through, tag the line, they're saying face in or face out. A pass-through, tag the line never gets used with right or left, or very seldom. So this is a way to use that more often. So we're going to face right, Ferris wheel, putting the boys in the middle. We're going to have boys pass through. So now you're facing your corner, same sex is paired, and they are in sequence. Now if you need to get out in a hurry, I'm going to use B. Touch a quarter, boys run, let's be in the middle again. Boys circulate and promenade or home. The star through California twirl, boys circulate, promenade home. That can be problematic. I have at certain mainstream dances, if you try to star through, the girls will connect in a 2-faced line. If the boys are in the middle of the 8 chain through and you star through, the girls will go ahead and connect. But when you say California twirl, in 1 out of every 2 squares, there's going to be one guy that's thinking, I have to be facing in at the end of the California twirl. So he's going to twirl his girl under and then stay facing. He's not going to California twirl to face out. And the way you get them past that is to say California twirl and boys connect. If you tell the boys to connect, they'll look for the hand, and usually they'll do it. After that, you probably want to call something else. But at least you got through it. So, and then this particular one, C is the one that really is the cute get out, because you do the touch a quarter, you do a scoot back, which is boy girl, and when they come back to after the scoot back, you say extend right and left grand, and at the end of the grand, you're home. That's kind of a cool get out. Now we're still setting it up here with heads pass through, separate, round one to a line. Pass through, tag the line, face right, Ferris wheel, boys pass through. So right there we did touch a quarter, scoot back, extend, right and left grand, and you're home. This time after that Ferris wheel and centers pass, we're going to say touch a quarter, and the girls are going to connect in the middle. Girls trade, swing through, boys run, bend the line, and slide through. And that is a 0 box, as if you'd originally called head square through 4, and pass through trade by, pass through trade by. And finally the last one here, and this is an interesting use of spin the top, because it's nice to use spin the top when it feels comfortable, but it still doesn't have a swing through first. And that's what this is. So you did a touch a quarter, girls trade, spin the top, hinge, and boys U-turn back. Now you're facing your corner at that point in sequence, but they're half sashayed. So after that you quickly say pass through right and left grand. And again, you're home, because the relative square position is all the same. Any questions or thoughts?
Gripes? Complaints?
I wasn't going to ask that question. Okay, so number 4, I've got 5 here. Number 4 is boy, boy, girl, girl line part 2. Starts the same. I use this stuff a lot. Heads pass through, separate, round one to a line. Pass through, tag the line. This time, face left. Ferris wheel, so it's the uphill Ferris wheel, left-handed Ferris. Okay, I lost my place. Where was I? Right there. Putting the girls in the middle, so then the girls pass through. That's a little more convenient to your get out. They're facing a corner, so you can say touch quarter, extend, right and left grand, and you're home. You could say star through, boys connect, without the California twirl, and promenade home. This time you could say touch a quarter, boys trade, and now the spin the top is the familiar spin the top without the swing through, because it's turn half of the right, girl left 3, and the boy move up. Every time I look in front of the paper, I lose where I was. I cannot read my own.
4C.
4C, thank you. There we are. And then you can slide through, and that's where now you're in a 0 box again, just like I described earlier. So you can also go to the spin the top when you said touch a quarter, boys trade, spin the top. This time hinge, and girls U-turn back. That is a 0 box. And if you can get back to a 0 box now, you're right and left through, veer left, Ferris wheel, all your regular stuff works. Any questions before I go on to number 5? This is going real quick. We're going to get out of the next coffee break real easy. Okay.
We're gonna go back before your cup of coffee gets cold.
Okay, so the last one, number 5, is a spin the top and leaders drill. That's the tackiest. That takes more of a workshop, because most dancers don't know what a leader is. Because a leader is an outfacer in a box. And it's the hardest for a dancer to be taught that when they're in a column. Because the number 3 dancer in the column is looking at 4 people in the other box and says, how can I be, it's described as outfacer. How can I be facing out if I'm looking at 4 other people? So I am suggesting outfacer is the wrong term. Leader should be the term. Each box has the possibility of having a leader and a trailer. So what this does, from any 0 box, if you swing through, spin the top, hinge, you can start by saying, girls, you're the leaders. Girls, you turn back. Now you can say from a 0 box, step to a wave, girls trade, now spin the top, which is half right, boy 3, and the girl walk up. Now when you hinge, boys, you're the leaders this time, boys do the U-turn back. Now if you want them in a 0 box, geographic 0, just say pass through and U-turn back. Because if you had one square go down and one square have trouble and one half make it, you want to say pass through, U-turn back, and Alaman left, and probably really quickly. So now, if we do this, 0 box, if we touch a quarter, have the centers trade, and now spin the top, now we have to talk about who the leaders are, because I got a boy and a girl. So you help them decide that. I personally have a wireless mic. I stand in the middle of the square and I stand like a crossing guard and say, now you belong over here and you belong over here. Randy Doherty has a question, can we put a mic in his face?
Mike, on the one you just finished, I don't quite see leaders. Touch a quarter, center straight, spin the top. Doesn't that give us to a title?
Did I forget to put hinge in there? Oops. Better write that one in. Good point.
Third 0 box.
Okay.
Proofreader's fired.
Yeah, the third one, 0 box, touch a quarter, center straight, spin the top. Before I say leaders, you turn back, you have to say hinge. Right. Okay, good point, Randy, thank you. Okay. Number 4 is 0 box, touch a quarter. Now scoot back. Because just the idea of having a scoot back and coming back to a wave and having centers trade is different for a lot of mainstream dancers. So after the scoot back, you have centers trade. Now spin the top. Now hinge. Again, talk about who the leaders are, because they'll be different. Have the leaders do a U-turn back. Now from all of these sequences, all of them, since you're facing your corner in sequence, but I don't really care how the partnerships are arranged, you can say either star through, and if there are any outfacers or leaders, have the leaders partner trade, right and left through and slide through, and it becomes a geographic 0 when all put together. Or if you happen to begin from a squared set and call it a head, square through 4, or the equivalent thereof, you could at the end of any of this say star through, outfacers trade, square through 3/4, have the ends face in and the centers U-turn back in your home. That required a head square through 4. Any of the others, since it's any 0 box anywhere in the square, but that one got you home. Any questions? Any other proofreading? What I will say is everything on this list I have called multiple times. That is material I developed out of the 2 books I wrote. I have those here if anybody wants to buy them. Off any book, $5 per book goes to the CALLERLAB Foundation.
That's probably one of the calls I think it's calls we failed to really teach the dancers, is leaders, trailers, outfacers, because they're not aware of when it trades, when you're looking.
See, I don't use, at higher levels I'll say outfacers, but mainstream,
Yeah.
I don't like to say outfacers.
We're not-
I like to work leaders, not necessarily trailers. That's too much information.
But I think we still need to do more work on getting them conscious of that.
Leaders, for instance, if you define who the leader is in a column, now you can teach them walk and dodge from a column and not have the girl go to the other box and forward. You can also define that the leader on a scoot back does a run. And on a leader on a walk and dodge does a dodge. And how do you make sure that girl stays, or whoever is, stays facing out at the end of that walk and dodge? You call something next that requires them to be there. My personal choice after a walk and dodge is boys fold in front of the girl. When you define that fold as a forward step, I may have to tell her first her front is facing the wrong direction. That was supposed to be a joke, but I do say that. Yeah, she has a nose problem, but anyway. Okay, That's my presentation.
Thank you, Mike. Very much. Very good. My part of the presentation will probably be better excuse me, Trevor?
I'm lazy.
Yeah, Trevor Day from Manchester, England. Just a couple of things on there. Number of times you've used extend on the mainstream program on there, and extend is only from quarter tag.
All I can tell you is every mainstream dance I've ever called extend and then right, left, grand, they will do it.
Yeah.
And so
One of the restrictions which we have on there,
I understand that. So I wrote it as extend. You can substitute by saying step through. I personally say if your next call is right and left grand or if it's Alaman left, extend is absolutely just fine. If that's your next calls. I have found that step through causes a little bit of hesitation on the part of the dancer, which loses the wow of the get out of everybody, boom, I got it now. So I do not advocate using extend as a general call at mainstream, but when it leads to an Alaman left or a right left grand, I personally use it and have no problems with it.
In other words, if what you gain is better than what you lose, it's a judgmental decision that we have to make. How many of us here were here when we had to change when we changed the call, extend the tag to just extend? Just a quick show of hands. I was personally upset when that happened for 3 reasons. I used to use the term extend only as an English term meaning to step forward, either as a couple or as an individual. And when they said extend the tag is now going to be restricted to just extend, we're removing the words the tag. And I think there was an injustice done. This is just my personal belief, but because that took a tool out of my box that I can't use now. I can't use extend. Not meaning, to mean just step forward. Okay? What I would like to do is to do a little show and tell. I've got a few routines that I play with quite a bit that are not difficult, but they are different. And it would really be nice if we could get a square of dancers up to go through this, probably 10 minutes worth of just walking through, okay? So we can get a square real quick. That's 4 of each. Or 8 of one, I don't really care, as long as you know the difference.
And you're taller, so
Take your pick.
I've been a girl for Al's classes before.
Okay, we got everybody.
So you're trying to tell us we need men?
We do.
Before this call.
Okay, this first combination that I enjoy using a lot, I'm the type of caller that likes to keep the dancers on their toes while they're moving. And by that, I mean, I really enjoy having half of the dancers doing something that the other half is not doing, okay? And I'm going to, in just a second, ask all 4 ladies to chain. However, I want 2 of you, either heads or sides, to finish like a flutter wheel, okay? Now, I don't mean do a 4 ladies chain and then those 2 ladies flutter wheel. Do not complete the ladies chain, okay? I'm going to ask all 4 ladies to chain, but I'm going to ask, not yet, I'm going to ask the head ladies to finish like a flutter wheel. 4 ladies are going to go into the middle, side ladies are going to go across the set for a courtesy turn, the head ladies are going to flutter. So all 4 ladies chain, head ladies finish like a flutter wheel. Pick them up, bring them back, girls. Isn't that nice? Let's do it the other way now. All 4 ladies chain. Side ladies finish like a flutter wheel. Side ladies pick him up, bring him back. Notice that at this point, and so far, it's taken us through half of a singing call, practically. Alaman left and weaved the ring. Everybody's across the street from home. So when you meet your partner, stop. And this would be a perfect place to swing and promenade, and it takes a full promenade. It makes an excellent opener, break, and closer for a singing call. Okay? Here's one I wrote on an airplane to Sydney. I wanted to do something different. I know in my head that when I say head square through 4, exactly where the head's going to be. And I know that you know that, and that you also know that if I called from that position, everybody's square through 4, where you'd be. But I'm going to ping on the heads, okay? I didn't say P, I said ping. It's on the tape. Okay? I'm going to ask the heads to square through. Don't go yet. But coming out of that square through, I'm going to ask the heads only to square through 4 more hands with the sides. But the sides, I want you to do an 8-chain 4 at the same time. Okay? Heads square through. Now when you're done with that, heads square through 4 hands. Please go 4 hands. Sides do an 8-chain 4. Go 1, go 2, go 3, go 4. Bingo. Now heads, you should be at home just about facing out. The sides I know are across the street. Heads separate, walk around 1, make a line. This also makes a beautiful singing call figure. Star through, pass through and trade by, there she is, Alaman left. Or swing a corner and promenade. Times out beautifully for a singing call figure. Again, we don't have problems with 8-chain 4. We don't have problems with 8-chain 3. We don't have problems with 8-chain through, period. Nor do we have problems with square through. It's just the fact that it's not done enough to make it an instinctive reflex for our dancers. Okay? Something different, not difficult. How often do we hear heads promenade halfway? In a singing call especially, or anywhere, okay? Watch this. Head men, do, sa, do. I don't even have to preempt it or pre-call this. Head men do a turn through. Walk out, stand next to your partner, next to her, because you've got to go to this spot. Okay? To your right, wrong way promenade, halfway, go. To your right, go to your right. Head ladies chain.
Not in America.
Well, I can attest to the fact that won't work in Alabama. But again, what is difficult about that? It's different. It's different. But you know, with spoon feeding, if you spoon feed a little bit at a time, you could probably work up to this real easy. Now, if the men can do that, How about the ladies? Let's have the head ladies do-sa-do. Head ladies do a turn through. Head ladies to your right. Wrong way promenade outside. Halfway, head men, reverse your flutter. Left hand, pick her up. Bring her back. That's a quarter. I need 50. Wow.
Need man.
They need a...
I couldn't find her.
She was hiding.
She was out there, not in nowhere.
Ay, 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 ay. Let me see, what is it? Ah, head ladies chain, 3/4. Side man turner. Half sashay her. Good. Do you feel comfortable here here in America dancing lines of 3?
Depending on what you do with it.
Yeah, to make a circle of 8.
Okay, I normally prep this with a do-sa-do just to get them dancing in lines of 3, but the lines of 3 pass through. Again, this is going to be different, it's not going to be difficult. I want those men in the middle to hang on to both girls and do not let go. With the lady on the right, California twirl, take the other girl with you. California twirl, take the other girl with you.
Oh, now they're all set.
Once again, sides pass through. Hang on to both girls. With the lady on the right, California twirl, take the other girl with you. Now head 2 gents, steal 2 girls, 1 in each hand, take them into the middle and back. You 6, do-sa-do. Pass through. Anytime today. Thank you. With the lady on the right, hang on to both girls. With the lady on the right, California twirl, take the other one with you. They showed you how. Once again, pass through. With the lady on the right, California twirl. Bingo. Okay? Let me see. Touch a quarter. Take a half step forward. Notice I did not say extend, because I know Trevor was here. Everybody circulate. Boys run. Centers, California twirl. Star through. And we're back to a square. I don't care about sequence. I don't care about relationship. I'm just doing this for exposure, okay? Do any of you work 2-couple calls? 2-couple stuff? Okay? Here's a neat little way I've found working with squares to get them set up into 2-couple material. Using 2-couple material for 3 or 4 minutes and getting back to squares. Couple number 1, go across the set.
Okay.
Push couple number 3 out. Good. Everybody do a right and left through. Flutter wheel. Sweep a quarter. Star through. Pass through. Wheel around. Okay? And when I'm done playing with my 2-couple stuff, couple number 3, push couple number 1 back to place, and we're ready for our singing call. That you?
Thank you, answers. I think they're doing good.
I do too. They're doing excellent.
We're done, right?
Not yet. Not unless you want to be.
Thank you.
Not unless you want to be. So number 2. Yeah, that's right. Done that. Done that. Done that. Done that. Ah. Could we have the heads, please? Star through and spread. Sides move in, make a line. Good. Pass through with a wheel and deal. Do a double pass through. All face in. Everybody pass through. Everybody take a step forward. Good. Have you ever done grand square from lines? We have girls on the end. I noticed one girl wearing. That's a Nadine. Girls trade.
I can do that.
Step forward, pass right shoulders. Step forward. Boys trade. Okay? Now we normally start out by saying side space, grand square. I want the men to turn to face each other. Remember that a square has 4 equal sides, okay? Everybody ready? Grand square. Go 1, 2, 3, turn. 1, 2, 3, turn. 1, 2, 3, turn. Don't turn, reverse. 1, 2, 3, turn. 1, 2, 3, turn. 1, 2, 3, turn. 1, 2, and you're right back to lines. Because you always face the flagpole center when you're done. Okay, now if you do it with the boys in the middle, you can do it with the girls in the middle as well. Pass through, tag the line, in, pass through, take your giant step forward. Everybody. Boys trade, girls trade, girls space, grand square. Go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right, cha-cha. 1, 2, 3, turn. Don't turn, just reverse. 1, 2, 3, turn. 1, 2, 3, turn. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, cha-cha.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I'm Mitch Pingle from Colorado. And there's a lot of things you can do with grand squares, but virtually everything you can do with a grand square that's not the traditional one, you can't do because people don't do it in 32 beats. And stuff like this you have to do in 32 beats or somebody's going to die.
So correct. Can you get back to a square real quick? Doesn't matter who's with who. It doesn't, I don't care who's with what, when, why, where. Here's one application of grand square that will cause the dancers to dance it correctly, I found. Okay? Heads touch a quarter. That girl, run right. The original sides face your partner. Now, if we start grand square from here, we're going to end here, okay? Please keep in mind, grand square has 4 sides to it. All start by backing up. Go 1, 2, 3, turn. Go 1, 2, 3, turn. Go 1, 2, 3, turn. Go 1, 2, 3, reverse. 1, 2, 3, and turn. 1, 2, 3, turn. 1, 2, 3, turn, and right out left grand. Promenade home, okay? Yes, Randy? Come on up. I'll throw it, you catch it.
I noticed you mentioned that grand square says they face in afterwards, but this last time, this couple did not face the center of the set. They stayed face to face to do your right and left grand get out, which was fine. But why wouldn't they face in after that and be in a double pass-through set? That's my question. Because you mentioned something about they faced flagpole center after grand square, right?
Right.
Understand my question?
Yes. No. Are you asking for an answer? No. Because I set them up for a right and left
If you
grade.
hadn't done that, let's
If I
say,
hadn't have done that, I would have expected them.
so in a competition tip, the signs would have faced in.
I don't know what they would have done in a competition tip, because I don't,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not a, is there anybody here that's a competitive caller or dancer? Would they end up facing each other, or would they end up facing?
I would think they'd turn face center again. I would think they would turn face center again.
You would think they would return to face the center, the flagpole center? Okay,
If you didn't call the right and left grand.
yeah. Okay, I think that about wraps up what I need dancers for. How about a round of applause for our dancers, please? Thank you. Do we have any questions from any of y'all? Yes, sir. Want to come up and? Since you're a producer, I'll come to you.
Hi, I'm Manal Stevens fan. You're technically correct because your right and left grand starts in a circle, and the men will conveniently adjust to a prominent position for the right and left grand, so your get out is technically correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you hear that?
I was in full agreement with that.
Oh, okay. Anybody else? Have any comments?
Right, but if you didn't say the right,
In my description of?
In the book, yes. I'm Rita Seeberger from Michigan. Thank you. In the brochure, it said something about facing lines and veering right or left. I can't remember which.
Did you notice how well we tap dance?
Yes, I see that. You tap danced right around it.
Yes.
Yes. And we spent quite a bit of time last night trying to figure out, what was right and what position we'd end up in.
Okay. Who has an answer?
No, I don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer. Let's just solve this one first. Randy?
I don't remember the question, but I got an answer.
Don't say C, all of the above.
Was it from facing lines, how to lead right or veer right?
Veer left
Well, actually, George asked me if I was on the right end of the line, and we had facing lines, and the call was veer left. Where would I end up?
In the center of a right face, two face line.
Right.
Titled.
Okay.
Tidally.
No.
wait.
Titled line.
In other words, in your line of
Work split on your side is what you got to remember. You work split on your side. Otherwise, you'd have to say 4 before or something like that, or grand veer left,
Yeah.
or something to that effect. So there's that rule that says work in your own side of the square. So with the couple you're facing, just walk forward, slide left a little bit.
Go diagonally. Okay, good. 2 problems solved. Anybody else?
I just had a comment.
Okay,
Identify yourself, please, for the tape.
My name is Mike Driscoll. I think we need stuff like this to make the dances a little different. A little bit, more fun at times.
don't tell
That's
me,
right.
tell the clubs to hide.
Yeah. Well, put a little bit of spice into it. Do different things. Not all the time, but throw in a couple things, make them just different.
Yeah. This was not gathered overnight, believe me. It's been compiled over about 56 years. Anybody else? Last chance.
Al?
Lawrence?
I liked that thing you did with the 2 ladies chain 3/4 to set up lines of 3 and doing the California twirl from there with one boy taking the other girl across with him. One thing I do with lines of 3 that I have a little fun with, I don't roll the girl away, so I got boy, girl, girl. Do a right and left through, boy, reach way out, turn 2 girls at once.
How come both at the same time? Wow. Lucky guy. Anybody else? Thank you so much for your attention. Thank Mike Sikorsky for me, please. Do you have any parting words? Okay. We're all gone. Coffee time. We're done.